Hello everybody and welcome to Japanu Toys. It has been a bit of time since I've talked about some toys, and we're going to be talking about a Sentai figure. Again, something I don't usually talk about. It's going to be Geo King from Zyuohking, which is a Super Sentai series. So let's get right into it, shall we? Yes, we shall. This, my friends, is Geo King, and before talking about the mech itself, we're going to talk about the individual cubes that form the robot. We have the cubes numbered 1, which is the torso, 2, which is the waist, and 3, which are the feet. But let's spin these back round and talk about the first one individually, and we'll talk about 3. We'll go from top to bottom. And cube 3 turns into the lion. In terms of articulation, it's got a hinge here and a hinge here for the head, all for the transformation. There's not a lot of posing you can do with it. You can maybe put it in this pose if you choose to, but it's really not a huge amount, unfortunately. But really, that's the way Sentai toys go. In terms of the design, I really like the Aztec face on the lion, and he overall is probably the most appealing visually to me, and I like all this molded detail of cubes all over his body. I like it. I think it's the best of the 3 of them, to be honest. Next up we have Cube 2, which is the shark. He's probably my second favourite of the 3. I would have honestly liked him to have an articulated jaw like he does in this show. Same for the lion, actually, to be honest. But again, I like the colours they've used on him. The white and the red. Highlight little bits on him here and there, which make him pop a little bit more. And once again, he's got nice moulded bits of detail here and there on his body. And there is something kind of adorable about that tiny, tiny fin on his top. But anyway, the last cube to talk about is Cube 1, which is the eagle, my least favourite of the bunch, to be honest. It does have a bit of articulation more than the others, as in its wings can waggle a little bit and you can move the wings up and down like this, but they're all on springs and it's not a very fun motion to do, really, to be honest. It just doesn't feel as good in the hand as the other 2, and the fact that the arms are constantly sticking out I find really irksome, because there's just so many springs. I think, honestly, this is the only cube that has springs in it as of this point in time, and I wish the arms could just slide up rather than them being on the springy joints, so they could at least be hidden in the eagle mode and make it look a bit more like an eagle than a robot on his chest, you know? The detail on him is fine, and the head design is alright. It's just not very good. At least in my eyes, anyway. Anyway, there's one other accessory left over, and it's the King Sword, I think it's called, which is more of a giant spear than anything else, but it is a big bit of plastic that really can't go anywhere. If you want, maybe you could shove it in here, but it doesn't look quite right, or maybe the only other place you could really put it is in the tail of the shark, and again, it's not quite right. It just doesn't go anywhere. So, it is essential for the transformation, but apart from that, it just is a big bit of plastic. I do like the fact, though, on the back here, we have 3 squares. In the show, what the animal cubes would do is they transform by jumping through there, and then they'd all form Geo King. So I like the fact that these things are on this. It's a nice little thing, which I didn't notice in the show, at least. So, I do enjoy that. It's just a shame that it can't really go anywhere else apart from the robot itself. But anyway, let's make that robot that I've been talking about. All cubed up, I do like Geo King. Yeah, it's a bit disappointing he doesn't actually have a gap in between his legs, but I like the fact that his knees and waist flow over to the next cube. On a visual level, I think it's very disappointing that his arms are so slender. It's really off-putting. And it's a shame because other Sentai robots do it a lot better, especially in the series as well. Now, in terms of a head design, it's pretty funky. It is just a big robot with a big hat, but I don't know, it does it for me. So just to reiterate, articulation is limited, and I'll prove it. The arms can go all the way around on clicky joints, and that's about it. The arms can spring a little from both of these springs, but obviously have no point to them, unfortunately. If you want to give him a bit more oomph, maybe spread the wings so you can pretend he flies, or, I don't know, have something else going on with him, but that's about it, really. Everything else is a bit more fudging it. Like, you could fudge the head to be a little bit more down if you get it at the right angle. Maybe that's a bit more show accurate, I don't really know, but it is a little bit finicky. I don't know if that even looks better or not, to be honest. But the face can move if you twiddle this bit for the transformation. And if you want more head articulation, pull it up and out, then kind of turn it and then press it back in. Yeah, it's not great, but then his head can turn and you do see the grey bit, but it gives it maybe a little bit more something. And if we take this bit and we remove it, he has his sword. It is very small and it is rubbery plastic, and as such, under this heat, has started to bend, as you can see. It's squishy plastic, kind of like what Transformers have at the moment for swords and whatnot. But he does have a hole all the way through his hand, through the side and through the top, so it gives you a few more options, I guess, to put the sword. If you want to have him hold it like that, you can do, but it's more obvious with the bend. You can have him from the other side and maybe turn him quickly for a quick slash, or if you want, you can go Psycho style and have him doing it underhand. And, you know, shower scene, stabby, 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 good times, Norman Bates. Or, you know, be normal and have it like a normal person would hold it. That is also your option to play. That's really it in terms of articulation. That is the figure. That is it. So personally, I wouldn't recommend Geo King as the first one to get from this line. He's the most boring. I think the other two robots are genuinely better on their own. I'm not saying don't get this one, I'm just saying don't get it first. Otherwise you might be disappointed and put off by the rest of the line. Get one of the other ones, then get this one. Or get this in combination with another one, and you'll have a lot more fun. Anyway, guys, I hope this has been an interesting look at this figure, or informative at least, and I will catch you in the future for another video. So I will catch you peoples laters. Cube out!